What is going on, all you Pokemon collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the PikaPikaPaPa, and you know, about a year ago, we used to kind of regularly do videos where I would say, hey, these are my favorite 10 cards under $10, or 10 cards under $20, or 5 cards under $5, and stuff like that. And then just as the channel's evolved, as time has passed, I've gotten away from that, and I really wanted to do a 10 under 10 video. I thought it'd be a ton of fun to get back to our roots and do one, and that's what we're gonna be doing today. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, why am I looking at 3 cards that are clearly not under $10 on the very first slide? Well, that's because, as you know, if you've been watching this channel for a long time, is I believe in spending 80% on the why and 20% on the what. So explaining why these cards are here and why some of the cards that I have under $10 that I think have some opportunity for some future gains is really important to me. And the first thing that I'm going to explain here is whenever you have a certain set and you have a Pokemon that's at the very top, right? We have seen time and time and time again where that card at the very top, that Pokemon at the very top, all of the other variants of that Pokemon throughout the course of the set have a tendency to do really well. And you look at Unified Minds here, right? We know the Mewtwo and Mew, that tag team card at the very top, right? Like that card has performed really well. And then you have the other 2 variants right there, which have done very well as well over time. And then we can look at other sets like Team Up. Team Up is a monster, right? But obviously it's a big Gengar set, and you see all 4 of the Gengar cards are doing really, really well. And then it goes on. You can look at XY era, Roaring Skies, which is one of my favorite sets, and I still think the cards in the sealed product is super undervalued. But you look at Rayquaza here, right? And guess what? All of those cards are doing well. Then you get into even Phantom Forces, another Gengar set. Obviously, I love Gengar, so there's usually a Gengar tilt here in my videos. But another example where all of those cards have performed well. Now, spoiler alert, as I go through this video, there's only a handful of Scarlet and Violet cards on here, and that's because I think the ultra modern stuff like Scarlet and Violet, you know, still has some volatility to it, where I think that if you can find some awesome cards with some age to them that are under $10 right now, that's where I really get excited. That's where I think we're gonna see a lot of upside. And believe it or not, a lot of these cards under $10 that we're gonna talk about in the video today are already on an upward trajectory. So maybe by the time you watch this, I have to shoot my videos in advance, maybe by the time you watch this, some of these will already be up over that $10 mark, which would be really good because buying things, you know, on the upswing is usually a good indication of future price growth. So I'm excited to share with you these 10 cards under $10. I hope you love the list, and I also have to give my selfish plug, as I always do. And if you enjoy the content and you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. We do fun stuff like this all the time, and I'd love to have you as a member of the community. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up, and if you have questions or comments, drop them down below. Those 3 small things go a long way in helping my small channel out, and I really appreciate it. With that out of the way, let's look at the cards that are directly correlated to exactly what I just got done talking about, and we're going to start with this Gengar VMAX from Fusion Strike. No question, no doubt about it, Fusion Strike is going to be one of the better sets from the Sword and Shield era, right? If you pull Evolving Skies out, Evolving Skies is in a land all and of its own. If you pull Evolving Skies out, guaranteed Fusion Strike is going to be number 1, number 2, or at worst number 3 behind that. And obviously Fusion Strike's headliner card is that Gengar alt art. Now this Gengar VMAX right here, the artwork is really cool. Like, this is a really stunning card. I have a couple of these raw, and I think it's just an awesome card. It is totally overshadowed by some of the other cards there in Fusion Strike. But as you can see, over the last 3 months, this card, it's still under $10, but it's actually up 23% over the last 3 months. This is a great example of a card where we have a headliner Pokemon with a really expensive chase card, and how organically some of the other cards of that same Pokemon in the same set, as long as it's a cool variant like this with awesome art, have the opportunity to do really well. So this one is actually already, as I said, on the upturn. It's still under $10, so it qualifies for the list, and I do think Sword and Shield, as I've said time and time again, Sword and Shield is just going to have a very special place in the hobby forever. Really, it is. It's going to have a special place in the hobby forever. Brought a lot of people back in during the pandemic, has some awesome artwork, and I think it really got people excited about Pokemon collecting. So I think any card that you can get from the Sword and Shield era, especially with a big name like this, has great long-term potential. Who knows what's going to happen. So the very next card, and this one is not on the upswing, but is actually on the downswing 23%, is this Umbreon VMAX from Evolving Skies. Now, as I said earlier, Evolving Skies is the set from Sword and Shield. There's no question about it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's Evolving Skies and then everybody else. And then at top of that, you have the Umbreon Moonbreon, right? Which is the #1 card from the whole Sword and Shield era. I mean, that card right now, raw, is like $950 or something like that. And then you've got the VMAX variant here, and I know that this isn't the second best one. There's another alt art Umbreon in Evolving Skies besides the Moonbreon, but as we've seen in some of those earlier iterations that I showed you, those other examples, like all cards with Umbreon on it, I think have an awesome opportunity for long-term growth. And the fact that this one is at $5.64, it has come down from $7 all the way to $5.64. When you think about risk versus reward, when you think about the downside, this card, there's not a lot of downside on this card at $5. However, when you think about it, and this is true for all of these cards, these aren't cards that are going to appreciate in value next month or the next 3 months or meaningfully over the next 6 months. These are cards that I think we could store away, and then over the next 3 to 5 years, as these sets get really old and as these booster boxes become harder and harder to come by, I can really start seeing some of these lower dollar cards start to find their footing and really start to gain value. So this is a card at $5.64. I think the downside is minimal. I think the upside is uncapped. So these are the type of cards I get really excited about when they're under the $10 range. Now, another one, a more modern version of this, which is hard to say because Sword and Shield's pretty darn modern, but that's the Mew EX from Paldean Fates, and we all know the Bubble Mew is absolutely on fire. The Bubble Mew has been such a wonderful surprise. I love the artwork on it. I think it's fun. I think it's light, if that makes sense. And obviously the hobby does as well. And then what has also been happening is you see this Mew EX here, right? The shiny Mew EX right here is also doing really well. Over the last 3 months, it's up almost 20%. And Paldean Fates is a set that I think overall is getting slept on. You got the Charizard, you got the Bubble Mew. I think both of those are destined to be cards over $100. You got the baby shinies in there. It's a specialty set. Specialty sets just have this really strong long-term track record of doing well. You put all of that together and you have this awesome card of Mew under $10. I think it's an absolute steal, and it's a stunning card. I just think overall this card has everything going for it that I would want, and so here it is again, already up 20% over the last 3 months. I don't know how long the window of opportunity is going to be on this one, but I do think it's a really cool card and a really cool pickup. The next one we're looking at right here, kicking it way back to XY base set, is this M Blastoise EX. Now, I did cheat a little bit. This is over $10. It's $10.86, but I just had to highlight this card. I mean, XY base set booster boxes are at like $1,500 right now. There is not a lot of them out there. They are commanding a high premium. Add that to the fact that you got Blastoise, which is obviously, you know, one of the most popular Pokemon out there, and then add it to the fact that this is a Mega Evolution. Now, one of the things that I think is interesting about that is we have heard that Mega Evolutions are going to be coming back to the game. Typically, what happens in the game happens in the card space, right? So if we have a new iteration of Mega Evolution cards further down the line, could we see cards like this get an organic boost from it? Well, if we do, I'm telling you, the artwork on this is stunning. Again, think about the age. There's not going to be a lot more of these injected into the overall population. Not a lot of people are going to be ripping XY base set booster boxes, right? Simply because there's not a whole lot of upside there, plus they're $1,500 each. So all of that makes me feel really good about this card. Okay, it's a little bit over $10, but it's under 11. I think it's got a lot of upside, and I really thought it would be a cool addition to this video to add some different, I don't know, some different flavor, some different depths to it, and the card is absolutely stunning. So this one's on the list, and the very next one we got is another one from Sword and Shield. And if you've been following this channel over the last 2 years, you know that I have been very obsessed with this card for a long time, and there's a ton of things to love about this. Now, this is a Black Star promo. It comes from a 3-pack blister set, okay? And the 3 packs that are in there are Evolving Skies. So it comes from Evolving Skies, right? 3-pack blisters. I think the 3-pack blister is now going for like $70, right? And you got the promo card that's in there, which is going for $8.86 right now. It is up over the last year 113%. Now, what you do see here is you see those blue lines. Those represent sales volumes. So you'll see that there was a little bit of a buyout in the beginning of July, and the price spiked up, and then it subsequently came back down, and then it looks like there was another buyout, so it shot back up to $8.86. So who knows if it's going to be able to hold on to it. But from a long-term price perspective, when you're looking at cards under $10 that can give you some opportunity of return, again, the biggest name in the entire Sword and Shield era, right? From the biggest set in the entire Sword and Shield era, from a 3-pack blister. 3-pack blisters have a very strong rate of return over time, like another card that checks all the boxes. Added to the fact that the gem rate on this card is abysmal unbelievably low. I must own 13 copies of this, and I've only sent a couple through to PSA. I think I've sent 2 copies through, and I've gotten 2 9s, and I'm pretty good at pre-screening. So it is absolutely, these are crazy hard to get in PSA 10 holders. Matter of fact, I think PSA 10s on eBay are going for like $250 right now. So you think about a raw card value of sub $10, PSA 10s are going for over $250. Like, everything to love about this card, from a rarity, from an exclusivity, from a big name, from a big set. Love everything about it. Now, is the price going to hold at $8? We'll just have to wait to see, but I could not have a list of under $10 cards and not have this one on it. Next one right here. Speaking about stunning cards that are flying under the radar, that are Black Star promos, this Mew EX has been on a tear over the last 3 months, okay? It is at $7.09, but if you look earlier, I mean, 3 months ago, this was a $5 card. Now, 151 is obviously just an incredible set. I mean, it is, no matter what happens in the future, 151 is going to hold a ton of value. When we saw this little reprint or restock or whatever it was recently, where more 151 was injected into the market, guess what happened? The market absorbed it overnight, and there was no impact to single card prices whatsoever. Matter of fact, we have seen most of these singles cards go up in price over time, and this comes from the 151 Ultra Premium Collection box, which again, I think a lot of people are going to keep sealed. I think a lot of people are going to hold on to those. I think it's going to be a great long-term investment. So there's going to be a lot of these in the market because it certainly wasn't short printed. I don't know if they're going to do another print run of it. Typically, they don't do another print run, but who knows? Pokemon Company could do whatever the heck Pokemon Company wants. I think this is going to be a good blend of high demand. I think people are going to be all over this card for a long time. It comes from an absolute epic set. It comes from a great sealed product that not a lot of people are going to be opening farther into the future. And so for all of those reasons, I love this card. And then you add in the amazing artwork, and what more could you ask for in a card under $10? Checks every single box you could imagine, and I'm really excited. I think it's $7.09. It's an absolute steal. Obviously, everybody thought it was a steal at $5. That's why it's up 33% over the last 3 months. Next one on the list right here, the Chansey card from Twilight Masquerade. I love this card. I really do. It's at $8.88. Twilight Masquerade's a brand new set. This is down 50% over the last 3 months. You know, I don't know. I think it's not something I'm going to rush out and buy right now. It does look, if you look at this 3-month price graph, it does look like it's starting to level out a little bit. Again, I don't think it's going to drop down to the $5. I just think the artwork is too great. Chansey's too big of a name, so I don't think it's going to drop much below that. But when you think about risk versus reward, not a lot of risk here picking up a card like this for $8.88. I don't know what the upside is. I certainly think it's higher than $8, but I don't know. You know, a very super new card from a super new set, but Twilight Masquerade does have a ton of love. That Greninja EX is going to keep tons of interest in that set. Obviously, the Eevee's wildly popular. It's got some great trainer cards in it, so this one's flying under the radar at $8.88 right now. Sticking with Twilight Masquerade again, okay, we got the Infernape card right here. And this is actually a card that I called out when I did my pre-release review of Twilight Masquerade. I talked about cards that I liked, I talked about cards that I didn't like, and this was one that I thought had the opportunity to be really special. Now, it has not proven to be really special in the short run. Matter of fact, over the last 3 months, it's down 18%. It's $7.15. It has upticked just a little bit ever since September the 12th. You can see it's just starting to tail up, but nothing to get excited about, nothing to write home about, but I do think it is an incredible artwork. I think this card has some awesome vibes to it. Again, it's coming from Twilight Masquerade. If Twilight Masquerade ends up being one of the better sets from the entire Scarlet and Violet era, you know, maybe this card will get some love further down the road. I think it's going to take quite a while for this to catch traction, but that is one of the reasons why on this list, most of the cards are from a little bit further back. But from an artwork perspective and from an entry point perspective and from a risk versus reward perspective, I think that there's a lot of upside and a lot to like about this card right here. Now, next card, okay, going again back a couple generations, you got the Celebi and Venusaur tag team card. Now, the things I like about this are a lot of the things that I've been talking about, right? You got Celebi. Celebi's got that alt art card, which is wildly popular. You got Venusaur. Obviously, Venusaur has some thumping cards in 151 right now. This comes from Team Up. Team Up was the set of Sun and Moon. Booster boxes are going for like $2,400. It's got the Lovebirds card in there, right? That was the card from the Sun and Moon era. Like, everything that you want, all the intangibles are in this card. Again, another card I cheated a little bit on. It's $11 instead of $10, but guess what? I'm the creator. I've got some liberties, so I threw it in there anyways. The reason I thought it would be interesting is because it has been coming down a little bit. Yes, over the last 3 months, it's up 3.64%, but over the last 2 months, it has started to come down from that $12 high to $11. So by the time you watch this, maybe it'll be closer to that $10 point, but Even at $11, I mean, I just absolutely love this. Tag team cards in general were super popular. You got 2 wildly popular Pokemon on here again, and it's from a booster box that cost $2,400 from the set from Sun and Moon era. So there's just a lot to love about this card at a really approachable price point. And then the final card on the list is this Pikachu Black Star promo, excuse me. You know, and this comes from the Paldea Adventures chest, and this card is down significantly over the last 3 months, right? You see it's at $8.17. Now, the thing that I don't like about that Adventures chest is it's not at a great price point, although you can certainly find discounts and deals on it right now. It is really geared towards kids. I bought one for each of my daughters. We opened it up together. I have 2 of these at PSA right now. I didn't necessarily open it for the promo. I opened it because my kids thought it would be really, really cool. But the thing that I like about this is it just might be this interesting combination of the sealed product it comes from just isn't quite popular enough, so there might not be a ton of it out there. And the ones who are opening it are most likely going to be kids. Not all kids like mine get excited about sending things through PSA, so there might not be a ton of these in high grade out there. Pikachu is obviously wildly popular, right? These combo cards where you have multiple Pokemon on there and you got Pikachu in the foreground, those have a tendency to do really, really well over time. So this could be just a really unique card that maybe checks all of the right strange buttons to end up having some value further in the future. And again, this is another one. I always talk about risk versus reward and protecting the downside, and you can do a lot worse with $8 than picking up a card like this. So I've got a couple out of PSA. I think they're 10 worthy. Obviously, that's why I sent them through. So I'm excited to get them in my grubby little hands. There's also a Japanese version of this, which goes for significantly more money, which always helps get me excited too. But I think this card has great artwork. And again, it comes from a box where I think kids are going to be opening it, so there might not be a lot of high-grade examples of this further into the future. I don't think the box is going to be super popular. I certainly don't think they're going to be printing it until all end. And again, you know, Pikachu with the Black Star promo, lots to love about that. So that's it, everybody. That is my list of 10 cards under $10 that I think have some opportunity in the long run. And again, as I said, these aren't cards that I think are going to pop off overnight. These are things that I think you can buy, you can enjoy them because they're awesome artwork of really big name Pokemon. And maybe in the future, maybe 3-5 years from now, when the product becomes even harder to find, you're going to see some growth. And that's what I love about this hobby is you can invest in things and enjoy them in the short run while you're waiting for that price appreciation to happen further down the road. So everything I love about it is all encompassed in this video. I hope you had a ton of fun, and if you did, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up, and if you have questions or comments, drop them down below. I appreciate you more than I can say. You have an epic one. Talk to you soon, everybody. Bye.